Well, on my channel today, I want to discuss a few things that are happening in the world that ultimately will affect my country of Canada adversely and negatively more than we are already situated in. Just down off my local trail, I'm actually at the Ukrainian-Canadian Memorial at Eglinton and Scarlett Road, and on this side of the memorial it is inscribed, "In memory of the Canadians of Ukrainian descent who served in the armed forces of our country." You know, over the years I've been harsh on the Ukraine war, but I have not been harsh on Ukraine military, active or retired or deceased. The people that know me know that that is not the case. I know this. I've been to this memorial many times. I've never been down here for Remembrance Day ceremonies on November 11th, and maybe that will change this year. I'm just thinking about that. But we're surrounded by construction here, and obviously in this hoarding isn't going to be done within a month and a half, so I probably won't be here for Remembrance Day. But I just wanted to give some recognition to Ukrainian people that have given, that have sacrificed their lives for our country. Very much respect. So next week, early next week, Donald Trump has instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to congregate, to assemble high-ranking military personnel. I've heard numbers of 800 people to Quantico, Virginia. This includes generals of all levels, 4-star generals, 1-star generals, admirals, people that I guess are in support of those people. 800 people to Quantico, Virginia. I believe it's going to be on a Marine base in Quantico. So this has the internet abuzz right now. Has my people that I know talking about it, people in my YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel, people in my Facebook group talking about it. And you know, people come to me for my opinion, and I go to other people for their opinion. So it's being highly discussed. By all accounts, and there's several accounts with regards to why the meeting is occurring, several theories. The main one is the potential of going to war with Russia. Donald Trump has tried unsuccessfully many times to stop the war between the Ukraine, you know, fitting in front of the Ukraine Memorial, the Ukraine and Russia many times, and he without success. And we all know that Donald Trump can be ego-driven, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like failing. So, you know, we only know what we see from news media outlets and from the press conferences that the Republicans put on, and on the other side, the Democrats. So that's all we know. We don't know the internal workings because a lot of that has to be kept close to their chest. But having said that, earlier this week, Russian military aircraft flew in international airspace still, but flew close to Alaska. So this is what's being reported. So is that sending a message to the United States? You know, the seriousness. I don't know if this indeed is the reason that Hegseth is putting on this meeting. I don't know, but that's speculation that it could be them going to war with Russia. Now, subsequently, Russia is friends with China, Iran, North Korea, and a multitude of other countries that would support Russia. Secondly, it could be that China is finally going to invade Taiwan, which would involve U.S. military intervention. So if China invades Taiwan, is the United States obligated to get involved militarily in that conflict? By all accounts, the answer is yes. So that would be a domino effect again, whereas you go against China, which, trust me, by all accounts, they can take care of themselves. They're a huge country with regards to land mass, population, and military prowess. They have a huge military with high technology. So it's not a country that you want to go to war with. So then couple that with the, you know, again with the affiliation with Russia, North Korea, and Iran. It becomes, in both scenarios, a war with Russia, a war with China, World War III, which could escalate to nuclear Armageddon. I don't want to be a fearmonger or the bearer of bad news, but that's just reality. Both those countries have a tremendous amount of nuclear power, as do the United States. So that is two theories there. Another theory being floated is the military intervention in Mexico with regards to the cartels. Now, it is theorized that the United States could be sending in military troops to go after high-ranking cartel members to put a quash to the international drug trade. Now, this would be done without Mexico's permission, obviously. So the worldwide ramifications of that, I don't know. Other countries would get involved in that as well, because you're invading the borders of another country. This is just all speculation, all being theorized from information I've gathered. A fourth scenario theory is that there's going to be mass civil unrest domestically in the United States with regards to Antifa, with regards to the January 6th committee, the committee members, guys like Adam Schiff, women like Liz Cheney, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, those type people. Is there going to be a big rounding up of these type of people that you know, they organized, orchestrated, and allowed the January 6th insurrection to occur? New information has suggested that there was 275 undercover plainclothes FBI agents in attendance at that insurrection. And I use the word insurrection is just because the word that is associated with January 6th. Do I think it was an insurrection? Not whatsoever. I watched it live go down on January 6th, and I was saying right in front of my TV, or I was watching it online, probably on my TV, that this is complete horseshit. You can tell that it was all invited. The police were opening up the barriers. The glass in the Capitol building was smashed. It looked like sugar glass. It looked like Hollywood glass. And there was a bunch of in-shape men wearing khaki pants, vests, you know, button-up shirts. They were feds. They were the ones actually being the bad actors and orchestrating and organizing the chaos. They were allowing people right into the Capitol building. Could they have stopped the people? Yeah, you pull out your gun, you shoot a couple rounds into the air, and it will stop that. Unfortunately, one of the people that were in attendance that day, a white woman, a retired military veteran, I believe her name was Ashley Babbitt. I think that was her name. She was shot and killed by a black Capitol security guard, and he was made a hero. She was unarmed, and he shot her through the glass. So there was a fatality that day. They tried to pin a bunch of fatalities on law enforcement side. I think a few of them were suicide. One was a heart attack. It was all fabricated. So it could be that Trump is going to get his military ready for a large domestic project or operation. Yeah, so those are a few of the scenarios that could transpire next week. Now, Trump also did a speech at the United Nations in New York City earlier on in the week, and it didn't go on without its controversy. And when he first got there, the escalator leading up to where he had to go was shut off remotely. So him and Melania had to walk up the stairs. Then when he started his speech, his teleprompter kicked out, so he had to ad-lib impromptu address the audience. It was supposed to be a 15-minute speech, and it turned out to be an hour. He went on to give a scathing outline of the United Nations and how useless, and for lack of a better word, he thinks they are, and how detrimental they have been to world affairs. He went on to specifically point out the immigration, or the unsustainable immigration that has been allowed into his country and countries around the world, and the damage it has caused. So he's setting the stage for world change. In that meeting was my Prime Minister, Marx, M-R-A-X, Carney. He was sitting there like the stooge that he is. He had no involvement because he's not welcome at the big boy table anyways. But right after that meeting, he jumped on a plane and flew to the United Kingdom to be in attendance for Keir Starmer's digital ID speech. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, announced this week that the UK is going to go to a digital ID in a very short amount of time. He stipulated in this address to this crowd that you'll have to have a digital ID to legally work in the United Kingdom. Now, a lot of people are for the digital ID because a lot of people are just indoctrinated and just their mind has been massaged to be a robot. More or less, they're living in a virtual reality already. So they just think it's the changing times. But what digital ID encompasses is a bunch of nasty things, including central bank digital currency, which will eliminate cash. It'll be a cashless society. I know some countries in the world are already a cashless society, and that's not good. You know, when the power goes out here or a bank malfunction in Toronto goes down, people freak out. They can't get money for a half hour. They can't buy a Starbucks Frappuccino. They flip out. So imagine if you are deemed an enemy of the state and a button is pushed from a central location in Ottawa, and your bank card don't work, your credit card don't work, or however you're going to pay for things. It doesn't work. You're debanked with a push of a button. Now you can't access money. You can't pay your bills. You can't pay your mortgage, your rent, anything like that. Your car payments. Then your travel is restricted. It's not good. Digital ID, central bank digital currency is not good. It can completely not just restrict your freedom. It could imprison you. Then, you know, every day the Liberal government is talking about certain bills put forth in the House of Commons with regards to hate speech laws. It's not hate speech laws, it's speech they hate. And every day we're being threatened with that. Legal gun ownership is being threatened. There's already, I don't know, 2,000 variants of guns in Canada that are no longer considered legal. The gun buyback program in Canada, you know, it's voluntary, but if you don't voluntarily relinquish your guns, you become a criminal. Now, I understand there's police organizations that aren't going to enforce the confiscation of guns, and I believe the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police in my province, is one of them, and kudos to them. But now, if you're deemed to have illegal guns, which the government knows about, because if you're legally registered, they know about because all your guns are legal. So now, if you don't turn your guns in down the road with digital ID, will you be allowed to travel? Will you be allowed to have a bank account? Who knows? Because you haven't turned your guns in. So it's the noose is ever tightening on us, and this is all by design. Mark Carney was installed in the end of April of this year as Prime Minister. He didn't win that election. He was installed. It was all prearranged, and ever since he's been installed as Prime Minister, well, prior to that he was an advisor to Pierre Trudeau for his goofball kid Justin Trudeau for 5 years. So he's well entrenched in the World Economic Forum hierarchy, and he was purposely put in place to make sure that Justin Trudeau, being the idiot that he is, kept on course. But to the point where, you know, they more or less had to force him out because his expiry date had passed. So then they installed Mark Carney, and he's been on an accelerated level of destruction for this country. He has done nothing for this country other than what I've just previously stated. He's accelerated all the negatives. He is out of this country at every opportunity. The only companies that have made money since he's been Prime Minister are the companies that supply jet fuel to his personal large military transport plane. I'm sure is quite comfortable for him to fly wherever he wants. And the rest of us are left to defend ourselves in this country and try to eke out some sort of survivability with regards to the price of food, the price of mortgages, the price of condominiums. I got condominiums to my left. It's unsustainable in this country. The crime levels are rampant. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to leave your house. 12-year-olds with guns killing people. You know, the cops are becoming increasingly more frustrated, increasingly more disassociated with wanting to do their jobs, because when they do arrest people, you know, they arrest them in the morning, they're back on the streets, you know, in the afternoon, and they're back committing the same crimes. And I'm talking with illegal bangs. It's dangerous. Their membership is being shot at. The TPS police, Toronto Police Service, is being shot at. Provincial police, federal police. They're becoming increasingly desensitized to wanting to do their job, and for good reason. They get paid well. Cops get paid well. They get a lot of perks, a lot of overtime. They get a lot of their benefits are top notch. Their pension is top notch. So a lot of cops, for the longest time, have not want to put themselves in harm's way. They just want to, you know, to come leave their house every day and just try to stay alive. And by doing so, they take the path of least resistance. A lot of cases. I'm not saying all cops. Don't get me wrong, but you know, they've been put down and not supported for many years, at least 10 years since the Liberals have been in, and because they're under the World Economic Forum direction, and it's all by design. Trump declared Antifa a terroristic organization, which is good. Hopefully he clamps down in the U.S. with regards to that. But that leads me back to what could happen next week. But in Canada, we're not the United States. We have a government that encourages that. We recognize the state of Palestine, the Palestinian people. We recognize that as an official state, which the United States don't. They don't recognize it. The conservatives don't recognize it in my country. They recognize Palestine as being run by Hamas, which is a terroristic organization. So in Italy, the Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, she didn't recognize Palestine as a state, and there was mass riots over there this week. They went berserk. I don't know what buildings they were attacking, but it was violent. So that's what happens. Now, the way to quell that is to send the military in. You got to send the military in. You can't allow a terroristic uprising to start destroying federal or government property or public property. You gotta stop that, and that's why, you know, obviously a military isn't put in place to attack its own people, so to speak. But if the police can't do the job, bolster it with the military. You gotta knock these quells down. I was at the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa in 2022, February 2022. I've mentioned it before. I was there the second weekend of the 3 weekends, and the second weekend was the most active. And I was there for 3 days in freezing cold weather, and I'll never forget it. Not the weather, I'm used to that, but I'll never forget the police state that was there. Ottawa looked like a military zone. Cops, and I'm talking large cops. I'm not talking the 12-year-old adolescent cops that they send out in daytime here in Toronto. They're 5'3" women and 5'3" men that they don't even look like cops. Their uniforms are too big for them. They look, anyhow. These cops were huge. They were assembled from all over Canada, and they were put up in nice hotels, including the Chateau Laurier Fairmount property, because there was some controversy with regards to that. And I witnessed it. I'm not a small guy. I'm 6 feet, almost 6'1", and I'm 260 pounds. These cops, some of these cops made me look tiny. So that's what they sent out for us, for the Freedom Convoy truckers, people that were raising concerns about you know, the medical lockdowns with regards to the vaccinations and crossing borders and whatnot. When you look at a BLM riot or protest, you're not getting the same cops. You're not getting police horses trampling people. So is there a two-tiered system? Yes, because the Liberals are in control of the bad actors, and there's lots of bad actors in all levels of police, and they're more or less mercenary soldiers of fortune. They'll go to the highest bidder, and a lot of them are angry. A lot of them are indoctrinated through the system that we all came up in, and they can't differentiate between right and wrong, and they choose the side of wrong, where they you know, they want to maintain their paycheck. I understand that, and a lot of them, it's self-degradation with regards to when they're attacking people. You know, I don't know a whole lot what's going on out west with regards to the ostrich situation, but I did see a video with the RCMP standing nose to nose with the people that don't want the ostriches dead, and they just look like robots. They look like AI. You know, they got their guns on, their riot gear, and you know, they're ready to go in and start bashing people, nightsticking people, tasering people, pepper spray, pepper ball, less than lethal rounds, shotgun rounds, beanbag rounds, whatever. They got all the gear. They got all the equipment. Very reminiscent of Ottawa. So this country, if your head's buried in the sand, is completely fine. You're having the time of your life. If you're aware, you're awake, you're living through a hell. This is a nightmare. People are becoming more aware daily because they have to. They're being foreclosed on. Their houses are being taken away from them. They can't afford to even move into the new condo. They have to walk away from the deposits. Then the builders are suing them. Yeah, because banks aren't even giving mortgages. Banks are not giving mortgages to people. If you buy a condo for $1 million in 2021 and you've made your installments, your pre-construction installments prior to taking possession of it, you could be $200,000 deep on $1 million condo. But then when you go to the bank and you need a mortgage for, let's say, $800,000, the bank will send out their people to evaluate the property, and the property's coming in at $560,000, $600,000. So that's what they give you a mortgage for, if they give you a mortgage at all. So then you're on the hook for 250 grand. Just back at home, my GoPro overheated when I was down at the Canadian-Ukrainian Memorial. Couldn't get it back working. I have subsequently got it back working. I got extra batteries and I let it cool down. They're synonymous for that malfunction. But anyhow, yeah, I finished up on where I left off on the video down at the memorial. Yeah, so people are in a situation where they can't afford to move into their new condo. They're losing their house. But anyhow, so one last thing I want to touch on. Also, Trump declared Antifa a terroristic group, which I believe I mentioned. And he's now come out and said that he is sending in federal troops to Portland, Oregon, to clean up certain areas of Portland that have been being violent towards ICE agents. So I don't know when that's going to happen, next week, whatever. That could also tie into the meeting that Hegseth is having next week. So there's a lot of changing things, a lot of moving parts going on, and they're not looking good. You know, so yeah, we'll have to wait till next week, and we'll see what happens past that. But in the U.S. is one thing, up in my country, Canada, it's another. It doesn't look like a bright future for the next little while up here. Oh, another thing I want to touch on. Charlie Kirk. There is new information that Charlie Kirk may have been killed with a lapel device, whether it be an explosive device or a projectile device. I don't know. I've seen footage of it, and there's lots of people analyzing the footage, whereas it would indicate that his shirt blows out and a projectile or whatever enters his body somewhere, and you can see, if you've seen the video of the blood coming out of his neck, it's yeah, it's traumatic. So people are saying it could be that. Also, people are also saying that his wife Erica Kirk was his handler. If you can believe this, I'm just pointing out what a lot of people are speculating, and they are insinuating or saying that Erica Kirk was a high-level CIA handler, and that Charlie Kirk was an asset. And it could have been possible that Charlie was a sacrificial lamb, i.e. a patsy, a very intelligent, well-spoken patsy. Now, the person that's in custody for doing the actual Tyler Stevenson, I think his name, or Tyler Robinson. He's a patsy as well. You know, they could have got him up on that roof a multitude of different ways, none of which were to pull the trigger to end someone's life, to unalive someone. So there could have been free Coldplay tickets up there. Who knows? It could have been a pretend radio contest. Who knows? People that work these kind of conspiracies are a lot smarter than people like me. But you know, I don't mean to put humor on it, but that's what people are floating around as well. You know, and the Charlie Kirk thing would tie into a possible domestic civil war. If they're going after Antifa, they're going after the J6 committee people. That could all tie in with the momentum from the Charlie Kirk assassination. But anyhow, if you have any questions or concerns or any further information, please put it in the comment section, and I'll try to get to all of them. Usually I can, because not many people comment on my videos. And I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world.